Hey, it's me again, and we're back with a different game this time. We are playing KSP, or Kerbal Space Program, and I have just built my first rocket. I have not played this game before, although I have watched other people play it, so I kind of have an idea of what I'm doing. But, uh, yeah, this is my very first rocket. Haven't played this before at all, and, uh, I just hope it gets us in orbit. It seems stable enough thus far, but let's see what we can do. For those of you who don't know, Kerbal Space Program is a game where you build your own rockets out of parts. Like any part you can possibly think of, they likely have. You can build rovers, planes, you can build anything you want. And so you put all these parts together and hope it flies. And once you get one that flies, you have to learn to drive it. And it uses the standard WASD configuration for movement, but see in the bottom center there, the blue circle, that indicates my positioning on the globe. Blue means, right in the center of blue means I'm heading straight north, and I'm going at roughly 7,500 meters per second. Or 8,000 meters per second. And when we get to about 10,000 meters per second, I'm gonna want to start my gravity turn here. Like I said, I've never played this before, but I have watched other people play it, and I've been a huge fan of NASA since I was a kid. So I do have a rough idea of what I'm doing. Sort of. I'm starting to turn a little bit here. See if I can straighten that out a little bit. It's not wanting to turn. There we go. Okay. But yeah, I mean, I was starting to rotate there, and that's not a good thing. Yeah, so far, I'm amazed. I did not expect my first rocket to be this stable. It's a little sluggish to controls, but it's responding, which is more than I expected from my very first rocket. Alright, so we're about 30,000 meters, so let's watch my apoapse here. And that's basically the peak of the turn. We're going to let it get to about 70, 75, 73 is fine. And then we're going to cut engines. You may have just heard me cut the engines. And for what I know from basic physics, what we have to do is just wait until we get to the peak, and then we use my thrusters again to kind of circularize the orbit. Because if I do it now, it'll just push it over on the right side, and it won't, it'll basically push my orbit into a 90 degree instead of 180 degree. But I wanted to get my orbit just a little bit higher. So I just pushed it a little bit. 76,000 meters, that's good for an orbit. And what I want to do here is I'm adding a maneuver. And I'm not changing my orbit right now, I'm just planning one. And it looks like my apoapse is the peak, and the periapse is the minimum altitude. 51,000 meters is basically right back in the atmosphere, so I gotta make that a little higher. 67 and 77. That's okay. It's very close to the atmosphere at that point, so I want to get that a little higher if I can. The music coming on means that I have completely left the atmosphere, and I am officially in space. But see, the blue line is my current projected path. The dotted yellow line means that that's where I want to go. And see at the bottom there, it shows I have to have an estimated burn of 18 seconds and starting right now. See, I'm plus 3 seconds into the burn, and I've burned for 16 seconds, I think it was. I think I might have done that a little early. The closer you can do the planning to the apocalypse, the better, and I think I kind of messed it up a little bit, so my orbit might be a little bit short here. Yeah, see, it's just barely a little bit short. 53,000 meters, that's awfully close. I think I'll be okay, but that's a lower orbit than you want. You usually want to have it right around 75,000 meters. Yeah, that's much too close, and there's not much I can do about it at this point because I've passed the apocalypse already. So if I do it here, that's just going to extend my orbit. See, what I'm clicking on right now with the what looks like a the horizontal lines with the line coming in from the top. That's if I pull that, that shows what it'd be like if I accelerated right at my target, which is what's called prograde, and the opposite one on the left, the green circle with the 3 lines coming out at an angle, the one I'm clicking on right now, that would be the retrograde, or if I slowed down my orbit. And the other two just have to do with positioning, kind of interdimensional space, just kind of angling it a little bit. Like I said, I've not played this game before, but I have watched other people play it, and I kind of have an idea. But you see our fuel level for these, our main sail engines have basically run out of fuel, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just run the separation right now, add a little bit of thrust to get out of it, if I can. Hopefully I don't tear something off trying to get out of here. I'm going to wait for these to separate a little bit here. There we go. Just add a tiny bit of thrust to get out of there. And there's my rocket. Alright, so we have an enormous amount of fuel left. I've burned all the fuel in the mainsail orange tank engines, but I have a lot of fuel left, and you don't need much once you're in space. All the fuel that you burn when burning a rocket is mostly in atmosphere. Once you're in space, you don't use much fuel at all. So, see, we're orbiting at 2,200 meters per second. That's pretty fast. It's like 1.4 miles per second if I did the math right. And that's, oh, I don't know what that is, 1.4 miles per second. Well, it's 60 miles a minute. It's a little over 60 miles a minute. So I'm well into the Mach range here. But since we have so much fuel, let's go to the moon. There's an orbit coming up. See if I can get that in there. And there's, oh, a little jerky on the controls here. I gotta smooth my motion out. There's the encounter, and there's the encounter right there. Alright guys, so it looks like we're going to the moon. You can see at the bottom right of the blue circle, it says estimated burn 18 seconds, node in time 8 minutes, 27 seconds. That means that to make that path to get to the moon, I have to burn my engines at full throttle for 18 seconds, and I have to do that burn in about 6 minutes. Or is it 8 minutes? I can't tell. I think it's 8 minutes. Luckily, this game has a time warp. I can speed up time so I don't have to wait that 8 minutes. Yeah, that was 8. Oh, yeah, see, it slows this down automatically when I get too close to the atmosphere. And I'm at that 53 53,000 meters, which is too close to the atmosphere. It's not going to slow me down enough to bring me down, but it's close enough to where the time warp doesn't want to go any faster than 4 times. Um, anyway, what I was saying is that I have to burn at full throttle at the blue target. See the little blue crosshairs on the orange globe? See, for those of you who need to understand that, the blue is the north hemisphere, and this, well, not the north hemisphere. It's the horizon. The blue means that my nose. If my nose is in the blue, it means I'm facing away from the planet. If my nose is in the orange, it means my nose is facing towards the planet. So I'm basically faced almost directly into the planet right now. But since I'm orbiting around a circle, it's going to even out, and I'll be going right for the horizon as soon as we hit in 50 seconds. Start to slow down time here. Now see, you want to have the burn, say it's 18 seconds, and you don't want to start that right at, because then you're halfway over. What you want to do, since it's 18 seconds, I want to start it right around the 9-second mark, so it's about halfway, just as... Oh. Well, apparently it didn't take my weaker engines into account when I separated. So now it's saying my burn is over a minute. So that's going to throw off my plan by quite a bit. Here's my rocket with the thrusters on. Going around the planet, and the moon over there in the background. But you see, I'm not going to have enough fuel for this, I don't think. Because I have 3 sections, and I'm about 1/3 out of liquid fuel. So my sail's probably gonna cut pretty quickly here. And there it went. I'm out of fuel in the first section, so I've got to do another separation. There we go. So, those photo complications are going to throw my calculations off. My actual orbit will not be quite what the plan, the yellow dotted line, will be. However, it does, yep, it got us there, so it's a little off, but it did get us there. So, that's a good thing. Although it'll, as you can see, well, we're already 19 minutes into this mission, as far as the game is concerned. It didn't take time warp into account because we're coming up on 15 minutes real time, but I accelerated time to go around the planet, so the game thinks it's at 19 minutes. But it's gonna take hours to get to the moon, if not days. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed up time here, and I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Well, first of all, there's the moon. Speed up time to get there. Alright, now I'm gonna cut, and we'll see you guys in a minute. And we're back. As you can see, we are much closer to the moon now. There in the background, I'm doing a short, tiny little burn to cut my orbit a little bit here. And oops, sorry about that. As you can see, I'm going to circle around the moon. By the time I get there, the moon will have orbited into that spot. And that's what that little circle in my path means. So I'm going to speed up a little bit here. And when I get there, I will slow down. And that will stop me from leaving the moon's orbit. Alright. We are now in the moon's gravity. So what I want to do is... wait, what's that doing there? That should not be there. Yeah, that should not be there. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a maneuver. And I'm going to slow down my thrust to bring my orbit. There we go. And there we have a lunar orbit. Although I'm going to want to circularize that orbit a little bit, so let's bring that up a little bit. Now it's saying I'm going to need to burn for a full minute and 30 seconds to make this orbit. And I'm going to need to do it in about 12 minutes. We'll speed up time. But I need to point almost directly at the pole to do it. Basically, I'm going to be pointing straight up away from the moon. Because basically what it is I'm very close to stationary. I'm at 361 meters per second right now. And in interstellar terms, that's really slow. I mean, the moon's probably going to catch up to me at that point. So I need to burn away from the moon to achieve an orbit, or it's going to pull me in, even with its really low gravity. So here we go. I'm going to point it at, and I'm going to speed up time. Again, the blue path is my actual projected path, and the yellow dotted line is what I want to do. And when I get to the point where I added a maneuver, I'm going to burn my engines. No, as I said earlier, it's a minute 26, and half of that is around the 45-second mark. So, I mean, I'm just guesstimating here. So what I want to do is I want to make sure that I hit that right in the center of my burn. Otherwise, it's going to throw me off. So right around the 45-second mark, I'm going to do that. 3, 2, 1, go. And as I burn and lose some speed here going away from the planet, I will circularize my orbit. You'll start to see the blue projected path start to come in there, so you can start to see it move right now. See how it was right around the 40-second mark, just about halfway. Just as I hit that, that's a good sign. There it comes in. You can see the other end of it is starting to come into the circle here. And when the little green bar on the right of the bottom center, when that hits the very bottom, that's when I want to cut my engines. And there it is. We have an orbit. It's not perfect, but it'll do. And we have a real orbit around the moon. My very first try. Alright, so I'm gonna throttle down, I'm gonna basically, when I hit that button, I want to turn my ship 180 degrees and thrust away to kind of make my orbit smaller. But let's just enjoy the path around the moon right now. Time warp times 100. There's probably a way more efficient way to do this. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and leave orbit. I'm not going to bother getting a smaller orbit here. I'm thinking about... don't need to accelerate very much to escape. 19-second burn just to escape the moon's orbit. That's the purple line is my rejected path, which is way out there. And that would swing me around the planet and way out to the right there. I can't really. Well, let's just get rid of that. We'll figure it out later when I get there. Still have a decent amount of fuel left. That's good. You can see it was roughly 650,000 meters above the moon. But what I want to do is, there we go. That right there is going to put me in orbit back around Carbon, or the Earth. Like I said, this is Kerbin Space Program, so their names are a little different. So let's see if I can lower the burn a little bit here. Nope. That actually makes it worse. Although it's only an 18-second burn time. I guess we'll go with that. There we go. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. That's not what I wanted to do. I want to add maneuver right about there. There we go. That's a little... There we go. There we go. There's an orbit around Kerbin. The 9-second burn time, so that's much better. I think I'm gonna keep that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to speed up time after I make sure I'll be in the right position here. I'm gonna speed up time so we don't have to wait an hour and 30 minutes. 40, 30, 20, 19, 9, 8, 7. Okay. Estimated burn time of 9 seconds. So again, what I want to do is I want to start that burn roughly 4 or 5 seconds ahead of it. And I've already passed it. Wow, why didn't it? My rocket didn't fire there. I tried to fire my rocket and it didn't go. Make sure I'm doing it right. Huh. Alright, well, let's try it again. There we go, it's not a very good orbit, but oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Alright, so let's speed this up here. Hopefully my rocket works this time. Oh, I've got to reorient myself now. Still gives me an orbit, so I'm not gonna be too picky about it. And we have orbit. Sweet. I want to slow down and get back in Kerbin atmosphere here. This is going to be, I can tell you right now, this is going to be a hard burn. 2 minutes, 11 seconds. And even if I do the burn correctly, I'm going to enter the atmosphere very hard. But luckily, this game does not add atmospheric heating. So I won't be burned to a crisp if I come in too steep here. Like I said, 2-minute burn time, so about a minute into it, I'm going to start my burn, which I just did. Here's Kerbin. I can't do time warp during a burn because of the way that developers made this game. Doesn't just speed up time, it speeds up physics too. So if you try to speed up time while things are running, like rockets are firing or something, it'll just throw everything out of whack. So you don't typically want to have the time warp going while you're trying to do things because it'll throw off the physics a lot. I'm still 5200 Kelvin, or not Kelvin, kilometers. Wow. I'm tired. I apologize. Kilometers away. So about 5,000 miles. That doesn't seem right. That seems like it should be a lot farther away than that. Is that right? That can't be right. Somebody please correct me. Because 5,000 kilometers would be way shorter than that. And there we go, the camera is kind of oriented with the planet there. Like I said, I can tell this is going to be a very steep re-entry. And if I were real, and this were not a game, this would be... Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's going to be extremely steep. That's almost straight in. Once you get into the atmosphere, that's almost straight in. See, look at that speed up there. As soon as I get closer to the planet, I'm speeding up to almost 1,500 meters per second. Probably going to be closer to 3,000 meters per second by the time I get there. I don't know if I could slow that up a little bit. Nope. Can't. I would have to be at the apocalypse to have changed that orbit at this point. So I guess we're going in. This is gonna be fun. I actually have a whole nother stage to this rocket that I didn't use, so I carried a lot more fuel than I needed to get to the moon. But okay, so there's the horizon, there's the afterglow. And we should be coming right into the atmosphere, and I'm going to try and slow us up because we are going over 3,000 meters per second. There's the atmosphere right there. Wow. Yeah, if this were real, I would be burned to a freaking crisp. Holy moly. Normally, like I said, I would have separated the capsule and just let it re-enter normally, but we have all this fuel, so I'm going to try and slow us up. With the atmosphere's help, we slowed way down to 200 meters per second. So I'm going to separate. Why didn't it? Oh, my engine's on. And I can't slow it down because it's separated. Oh. Oh. Okay. Now we can separate. Put out the parachute. It looks like we're going to have a good landing here. We made it all the way to the moon and back, kids. Ignoring the extremely hot re-entry. And I time warped and I ripped the, see what I mean about warping physics? Yeah, it ripped the parachute right off because I time warped. Well, we made it back. Bye, everybody.